Hi everybody, Wendy here from Cinnamon Sweet Shop. Today I will be making a homemade buttery croissant. So to make this, you don't really need a lot of ingredients, but you will need a lot of time because this recipe does have to rise on more than one occasion. So to start, I'm using my whole wheat pastry flour. Now, if you don't have this, you can use the cake flour instead. You're going to need some milk, a whole milk, meaning that it should a milk with a fat in it. I'm using almond milk. It has a high fat content, but you could use just whole dairy milk as well. Some sugar. I'm using my organic sugar. You will definitely need some yeast, and you're going to need some salt. You're also going to need a lot of butter, and this butter is diced, but it's very, very cold, so you don't want to leave this set at room temperature, and you're going to need a little bit more flour as well. Now I'm going to be using my mix master with the dough hook, and in the bowl we're going to combine together the flour, salt, sugar, and the yeast. Then I'm going to add in the milk. We're going to mix this together until a nice soft dough forms. So it's going to take about 1 to 2 minutes. If the dough is dry, you can just add a little bit of milk at a time. Now in this case, the dough is a little too dry, so I'm just going to add in more milk, 1 tablespoon at a time. You probably won't need more than 3 tablespoons. You know you have enough liquid when all of the flour is completely moistened. And I'm going to go ahead and keep on mixing this for a little bit until the dough becomes more elasticy and almost like a buttery consistency. When your dough's finished, we're going to wrap it in plastic and let it sit at room temperature for about 30 minutes. Now while I'm waiting for my dough mixture to settle down, we're going to make the butter mixture, and we're going to do that by blending together the cold butter in the mix master with the paddle attachment and adding that little extra flour. Now I want to mix this for about 2 to 3 minutes. This butter should look like the same consistency as the dough did. If you find any pockets of flour, you could just squeeze that out with your hand. Some of the butter will be a little bit lumpy in here. Now I placed a piece of plastic on top of the butter, which is on a piece of plastic, and with my hands I just quickly molded it into an oval, and it should be about 5 to 6 inches long, 1 inch thick, and you could just quickly do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Again, with your hands, with a piece of plastic on top so you don't get it all over your hands. Now I'm going to put this back in the refrigerator, and it's going to remain there until I'm ready to use this. So I have a work surface here that's heavily powdered with flour. You want a lot of flour to use this so it doesn't stick. And with the dough, we're going to roll this out to about 10 inches in width, 17 inches in length, and we're going to make an oval shape with this as well. Now this is about an oval shaped size, and now I'm going to use the butter that was sitting in the refrigerator, and we're going to center this on top of the oval that we have. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold over the edges, over the butter, wrap it up like it's a tiny little package. And then with the rolling pin, I'm going to roll it again, just to spread out the butter. Now this rectangle is going to be about 14 inches long, 6 inches wide, and about 1 inch thick. Now you see how I have butter squishing out of the sides? Don't even worry about that because we're going to refrigerate this again so it will firm up. So I'm going to take some plastic wrap. Completely cover the dough. And I'm going to place this on a cookie sheet and just put it back in the fridge. This is going to go back in there for about an hour. This has been sitting for a while and it's just nice and firm. So now I'm going to roll it out even more so to 14 inches wide by about 24 inches in length. Fold this up like as a book. So I already started on this one end. I took the bottom and folded it toward the center. I'm going to take this end and also fold it inward toward the center. Wrap this back up, and again it's going to be refrigerated for another 2 hours. At this point, you can overnight this if you want to finish this up in the next morning. You could even freeze this dough if you would like to make it at a later date and make sure it comes to a complete thaw before using it. My dough has been refrigerated overnight, and I have a very heavily floured countertop. I'm going to roll this out to about 20 to 24 inches in length and about 16 to 18 inches in width. Got my dough rolled out. Now I'm just going to pretty much eyeball this and cut the dough in half, like so. Just so we have 2 layers. Now to cut these into triangles, we'll just cut the first piece in a diagonal going straight down. And then from there cut each piece on an angle so that they look like triangles. I'm going to roll these up by having the point of the triangle face downward, and with the top just slowly roll them. And there you have the one. I put my croissants in a silicone lined pan, and I did put it more of a concave shape to it as I placed them in there. Also, you want to make sure that they're pretty far apart from one another because these guys are going to triple in size. There's a lot of yeast in here. To top this off, I'm going to give it an egg wash. So I just took 1 large egg, beat it up with about a tablespoon of water, and I'm going to go over each one with a pastry brush. This is what's going to give it that nice shine and that deep golden color. Let these sit out on the counter at room temperature for about 3 to 4 hours. These things plumped up quite a bit, and I have my egg wash again. This was kept in the refrigerator while I was waiting for these to rise, so this is nice and cold. I'm going to go over again and do another egg wash. Bake these in a 350-degree oven for about 12 minutes. Then you want to turn the tray around and bake them again for about 6 more minutes longer. Now these will be a deep golden bronze color when they are done, but don't overbake them or else they'll burn. This is what they'll look like when they're done. They should be really light and fluffy. When you break them apart, they just flake apart. They're so light, delicious, buttery. You got to try making these at least once. It takes a long time, but it's well worth it. If you're not going to eat them right away, which they really are best when they're fresh out of the oven, you can store them in the freezer. Just wrap them real well and throw them in for a couple of weeks, couple of months, whatever. For this recipe and all my other recipes, make sure you go to my website at cinnamonsweetshoppe.com and subscribe to this YouTube channel for much more, and I'll see you next time.